All right, so we glued all the stuff that's inside the head. Let's talk about eyelashes. You have a lot of options in the Reborn world for the eyelashes that you use. There are the wispy eyelashes, which have these little triangular shapes to them. There's the upper and lower eyelashes that are recommended in the beginner tutorial from Bountiful Baby. And they come in all kinds of different colors. So as we were saying earlier, this is a 4-colored rooting project. So we actually have some options for what we want to use for her eyelashes. So I originally set aside light brown because I wanted the lashes to show up. But now that I've rooted her eyebrows, I'm thinking the light brown's going to be a little too dark. So we're going to set those aside. So now we can decide if we want to use the regular blonde or these wispy things. I've actually never used the wispy ones before, so I'm super curious about it. So I just want to see how this is going to look. So I'm just going to set it in her eye. So these are the wispy lashes. Very pretty. Very long, but very pretty. So you can try on as many pairs of lashes as you like until you find the ones you want to use. I always use the bottom lashes on the strip, and I'm kind of feeling like I want to keep doing that right now. Yeah, the length on these is really throwing me off. Okay, so I'm going to put these back. The lashes on the strip will fight you because they're made to lay flat, but you're trying to put it on a curved surface. So to get a little bit of the fight out of them, I like to wrap them around a curved object. So I'm going to get my fork needle again. You don't want the lashes to go all the way to the corner of the eye, because that's just going to look very strange and uncomfortable. So you want them to stop just shy of that. So with the strip, you do have to measure how much you want. So I just want to get it positioned first. As you can see, it's fighting. That is what these lashes do. That's very annoying. So I'm going to give myself a couple of extra lashes on either end, just in case. So it's right about here where I'm going to want to snip it. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So a lot of folks root their eyelashes. Rooted eyelashes are great. I tend not to root my eyelashes because I can't get them to curl properly, and I just love for my eyelashes to have that little bit of a curve to them. And the lashes on the strip come with that automatically. So that's always a benefit where you can get it. Sometimes I'll root my bottom lashes because those you don't mind too much if they're sticking straight out. So adding a little bit of bend here so it'll cooperate better. Okay, so again I'm going to place the end of my lash and then wrap the rest around. That one to end. And nip it off and leave myself a few extra lashes just in case. Okay, so we've got our lashes measured. Now we're ready to glue. We're going to use Gem Tack again because it's just wonderful stuff. It's low fumes, it's waterproof, it dries clear. Can't go wrong with Gem Tack. This time I'm going to put a drop on a surface. So this is a little cosmetic jar. You can use a palette, you can use your table, whatever you want. Just drop a glue. Okay. Make sure your eye is clean. We don't want to see any fingerprints, we don't want to see any dust. I'm holding on to my eyelash. I'm going to take that needle though and very, very carefully place a strip of glue, just one drop at a time, on the crease where the eye meets the eyelid. Eyelashes are the most fragile thing on a reborn doll. So I really, really glue them to ensure that they don't come off. So I'm getting a little bit on the lid, a little bit on the eye. Gem tack does dry clear, so don't worry. Whoops, if you get a little on the eyeball like I just did. Okay, wipe your needle on a clean surface before you go back and pick up any smears. And again, I'm using a fork needle and not a crown needle or a regular needle because they're kind of blunt at the end, so that prevents me from scraping up the eye. But if you've got, I don't know, a skewer or a sculpting tool or something that you'd rather use, that's fine too. Just whatever you have. Make sure that it doesn't scratch the eye, but it gives you a lot of precision over where you place your glue. Just going to bend these eyelashes one more time for good measure. And we're going to place the strip right where we put the glue. Now this is where life can get a little frustrating because the lash will have a tendency to pop up. It'll have a tendency to get in your glue and then pop up and fling glue all over Kingdom Come, and that is very annoying. So I like to use my finger as well as the needle to ensure that the lash is held in place. So now I'm pushing the strip against the eye and the individual hairs of the lashes against the eyelid. So you'll have both the eyelid and the eyeball holding your lashes in place. And now that I'm relatively satisfied with where they are, they're actually trying to wiggle a little bit too much for me. So I think I'm going to take a fingernail and make sure it's up against the surface. Yeah, I know that's really nasty to look at, seeing someone stick their finger in someone's eye. Yikes. Hold it as long as you need to make sure that the lashes are flush through the two surfaces that we glued. Okay. You might want to give it a few minutes to dry before you move on. So once it's dried enough, I like to go back with a little bit of glue, just a drop of glue, on whatever tool you're using. And I'm going to put it on the outside of the lashes. So like I said, the individual hairs are being glued to the eyelid. I'm reinforcing that connection by adding even more glue to the lashes to stick them to the eyelid. And that's why it's so important that you use a glue that dries clear. So that you have the freedom to kind of gob it on like this without having something awful in your doll's eye. When this is dry, it won't be visible. Okay, so I hope you can see that. So that is one thoroughly glued eyelash. Be sure to clean off your tool, and if needed, very gently wipe away excess from the eye. Okay, so we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now we have successfully completed our gluing steps. Allow your glued parts to dry for a minimum of 24 hours. Now, for anyone who has a new wave oven, there's a little trick that we can do to speed up the process. The new wave oven has several power settings. 1 representing 10%, 9 representing 90%, and if you don't push anything, it assumes 100%. 100% power is 350 degrees. That's way too hot for anything vinyl related. That's their sort of turkey roasting feature. So make sure you always set your power. So we will use 60% power if you're curing paint. And we will use 10% power for drying glue. 10% power is about 100 degrees. Okay, we're finally ready to put her in the oven. As a reminder, this is a dehydration mode, not curing mode. So I'm going to remove the top from the new wave oven. I always use the extender ring. This maximizes the distance between your piece and the heating element. Inside the bottom of the oven there is a metal pan that comes out. I've lined that metal pan with a light colored towel. I usually use a white towel, but my white towels are in the wash, so this is an old pastel yellow towel that won't transfer any color to the doll. What I also got in here for dehydration purposes only, not for curing, are some cosmetic wedges. And what that does is allow me to position the doll upright. So without these, she's going to have a tendency to wobble, especially when the wind starts blowing in there. So this, right under the neck, will keep her in place. So to operate this guy, we're going to set her cook time. So I'm going to give her an hour. So this is your minutes, this is your hours. And then I'm going to set the power level to 10% and visually confirm that is 10%. If you do not set the power level, it defaults to 100% power, which is 350 degrees, and that's going to melt your doll into a puddle. So always visually confirm that you're at 10% power, not 100% power. And then we're going to hit start. So it has a pretty strong fan in it. You may be able to see the hair is blowing around a little bit. If your doll has really long hair, like long enough to get sucked up into the heating element, you're going to want to tie it down so that doesn't happen. Okay, I'm going to make sure she's stable. I'm going to make sure she's not wobbling around in there. And it's looking good, so we're going to let her go ahead and dry. Thank you as always for tuning in. We are almost done with this doll. We're in the home stretch. It's very exciting. So make sure you subscribe to my channel so you'll always be up to date on these final steps in the sort of home run of getting this doll ready to go home. Thank you so much for reborning with me, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.